Hey, what's up, Boardwalk Empire fans? Kino here, and we are back with the final reaction of the series, the reaction to the last season of the show, Season 5. Now, real quick, you might notice I'm in a different room, just because it's really hot where I'm at a lot of the time, and the room I was in before had like 2 windows, so it was like twice as much heat coming in. So hopefully this one will be a little bit cooler. I know it's a little barren right now. Hopefully you might see a change over the course of recording these videos. And I also apologize if the audio is not as good in this room. I haven't set up all my like acoustic paneling or anything yet, so just keep that in mind. But hopefully it's not too big of an issue. And of course, we're gonna focus on the actual episode. So the first one we have is Golden Days for Boys and Girls. Now, real quick before we talk about the episode itself, I have been made aware through, people posting comments, people letting me know that, like, Season 5 in general is considered to be a very rushed season. There's only 8 episodes compared to the usual 12. And so it definitely seems like they were kind of not given the proper time to take the story where it needed to go. We see that a lot with HBO shows. The Wire got less episodes their final season. Rome very famously got canceled and only got 2 seasons, so they had to wrap it up really quickly. And I think we're going to see the same thing here that we saw in Rome, which is jumping ahead to like the end of the timeline without being like, wait, what happened? All this stuff happened off screen. Notably, Arnold Rothstein is dead. I know that he does die in real life. I believe was murdered. But they don't have time to really address that or dig into it because, again, they were probably given very little notice and then they just had to throw the season together. Sad to see him go and not get like a strong resolution, considering I thought it was one of the better performances of the show. Arnold Rothstein. When we open this episode, a lot has changed. So Nucky's in Cuba. He realizes that like Volstead Act is going to be repealed and alcohol is going to be made legal again. The Great Depression has occurred during this gap, and so America's kind of suffering right now, and bringing the taxes back from alcohol would be a way to kind of help them with that. With that knowledge that he has, he's trying to set himself up to become the distributor of Bacardi in America. Now, again, I know Bacardi, of course, is a real company, and it also very old company from Cuba. So it's a real life thing. Of course, Nucky might not have been involved or anything, but this was something real that was going on. So he's doing all of that. He's with Sally. I don't know if they're like together or what. It seems like maybe she has a bar in Cuba, but either way, I guess he's been living there for a while and just setting up business opportunities. So we'll talk more about him towards the end here. I just want to get the storylines out of the way. So Chalky is in prison. Don't know what he did to get in there. Again, we're just jumping forward, and he's already in prison. There's a riot that breaks out, and he ends up escaping with this one guy. They're going to go get some money. Again, don't know what the storyline is yet or what it's going to be, but it will be interesting to see where Chalky is, because he was in a very dark place at the end of last season, and how he's going to deal with that, or if he's even going to deal with it at all. Again, they might be so rushed that they don't have time to deal with this stuff, but I am interested. We also have Luciano. So I know a little bit about this history. Luciano was working for Masseria, but ultimately betrays him to go work for Maranzano. They were fighting a war. It's a shame we don't really get to see it on the show. I would have loved to see more Joe the Boss. I thought he was a really cool guy. It would have been great to see him, step up and be more involved. But he's gone, and Luciano is now working for Maranzano. And I of course know he's going to betray Maranzano. That's just real life history, and he becomes not the leader, but he sets up the modern mafia. So I'm sure they'll do that storyline in some way, but hopefully it's done satisfyingly. And again, I hope we get to see more Luciano, because he's really we got to see more Lansky than we have Luciano, which is Lansky's an interesting character too, but not as much to me as Luciano is. So we'll see where that goes. Speaking of Lansky, he's actually in Cuba. He lies to Nucky, says he's there with his wife. He says he doesn't talk with Luciano anymore, which could be true because we saw them fighting at the end of last season, or it might be a lie. Again, not 100% sure on the real life history, but since he was lying about his wife, he might be there for some specific reason. I know the mob did have business interests in Cuba, setting up a gambling operation. So we'll see where that goes. And then I guess the last thing is just Margaret. We see her. Season 4 was kind of nice because we got a little bit of a break from Margaret. Now we see her, and again, her storylines are so fucking boring. They're not interesting. It's not connected to the main characters. I don't know why we're wasting time with this, but she's working in the stock office. The guy blows his brains out, very fucking dramatic. And there might be something with a file cabinet. There might be secret documents in there. Don't know, and don't really care, to be honest. Again, I just they've really not made her interesting, and I think that's a shame. But there are some really interesting female characters that I want to see more of. I want to see Jillian. I want to know what's happened with her. Really like her character. We'll see what happens with everyone, but I hope we have enough time to at least explore them. Although, again, like I said, I know people don't have a lot of nice things to say about this season, but regardless, it will be interesting to just kind of wrap it up and just see, how this ends. But we'll talk about my thoughts on the whole series once we finish it. But for now, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned because we're going to watch the next one soon. Hey, what's up, everyone? Back with another reaction. Just watched the second episode of Season 5, The Good Listener. Now, this is where things start to really kind of heat up in terms of the plot. And we also kind of learn how far ahead into the future we are. It was implied that there was a time skip, but I didn't know how long it was. We learned it's been about 6 years since the end of Season 4. So a lot of time has passed. Again, a lot of stuff happened off screen. And we're getting some interesting developments, especially with Luciano and Lansky. So, real quick though, I wanted to mention, I didn't talk about it last episode, I don't think, too much. Or maybe I did, actually. I think I did talk about it. Sometimes I forget what I mentioned between these episodes. But I was just going to talk about the flashbacks to Nucky as a kid. And we're kind of learning how he became the person he is. He went to go work for the Commodore. And we learned this episode that his father really doesn't like the Commodore. Apparently he swindled him out of his land or something and made a bunch of money. So that's why they're kind of poor. His sister dies. Now, my fiance watches these with me, and she was thinking that Nucky could have saved her with that money, but instead chose to use it to get ahead. I don't know. I didn't see anything specifically like that, but I just wanted to call that out. Maybe that's something they're going to reveal, that, he could have saved her. But I kind of feel like she was dying regardless. And at least I didn't see anything to suggest that, they could have bought medicine for her or something. But who knows? I don't know. But regardless, again, we're seeing more of his childhood. Pretty interesting stuff. Again, the primary storyline this episode is Nucky trying to figure out who tried to have him killed in Cuba. So he goes and visits Johnny Torrio. He arranges a meeting with Maranzano. And then later he learns from Tonino, who is he's played by Billy Leotardo, Phil's brother, and he gets whacked in this one too. He was just a kid. Whatever happened there? So he learns from him that Lansky and Luciano are plotting to take over, and they are the ones behind the attack. I don't know if that's for sure. I don't know if Tonino was lying or anything. But Nucky kills Tonino to send a message to Lansky. So we'll see how that develops. But it is cool to see Luciano and Lansky taking a more kind of active role in the mafia. So they're doing all of that. Meanwhile, Eli and Van Alden are working together with Capone, which is funny to see. I don't know if they recognize each other or not. I kind of imagine they do, but I know we'll see. They lost some money, and so they have to recoup it by they rob another guy who works for Al Capone. So it's like, again, just stealing from one person to pay another. So we're seeing that go down. Oh, by the way, they get raided by Agent Van Ness, Elliot Van Ness, who I don't know. Just from what I saw, I don't think they're gonna make him like a real character in this one. I think we might see like the takedown of Al Capone, but I don't know. Just from the glimpse I got, it didn't seem like they were really building him up to be a character. And I got to imagine that, like, after this, the Untouchables, they kind of don't want to necessarily just repeat the Van Ness storyline. So, I keep saying Van Ness. Sorry, Elliot Ness, Van Alden and Ness. Again, I always said that Van Alden was kind of like a different spin on the whole like Van Ness like incorruptible character, and we're seeing how he became corrupted. But the other two storylines we see is one, Willie's trying to become like a clerk or something for a prosecutor. We see him going into law, but he is still close with Nucky, so it's probably some corrupt business going on there. And then we see Jillian, who is I think in like a women's like insane asylum. I don't know if she was in there because she was insane, or if that's just where they put women back. I don't know if they have like regular women's prison back in the day. I kind of feel like maybe back then they're just like, oh, if a woman does something, she's crazy, and we gotta lock her up. But we see her in there. Don't know what quite is gonna happen with her storyline, but we'll see where it goes. So that's pretty much everything. There was a scene where Nucky was meeting with the cereal company to try to get them into the liquor business. And then one of the people he meets is, I think, John Kennedy's father, like JFK's father. Because I know he was a bootlegger back in the day, had some run-ins with the mafia, and I don't know if he, and then I think he went legitimate and did some like real stuff too, but when they said Kennedy, of course, that's who you're supposed to assume. So, I think that's, we'll see if they do anything with that. Like I said, I'm really just excited about the Luciano Lansky stuff. I want to see the formation of the mafia. I hope we get that. Again, I've always said that's kind of the most interesting thing about this show. Like I said, I'm interested to see where it goes. I know I didn't have too much to talk about, just kind of listing off the plots, but hopefully next episode we'll see some Chalky and stuff. He wasn't in this episode, but they have a lot of storylines to balance out and not a lot of time to do it, so they really got to jump into things here and get going if it's going to make sense. So regardless, thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you next episode. Hey, what's up, everyone? Back again. Same day, just watched another episode. This time I watched the third episode, What Jesus Said. Now, this is an interesting episode. Not a whole lot happens in terms of plot, but we get some cool, kind of low-key character moments, especially with Chalky. So, like I said, I was hoping that he would come back, and he did. He and this other guy, they were prisoners at this, labor camp. They broke out during the riot, and now they're going to a house to steal some money. So the backstory with this guy he's with is he was like, a laborer or something working for these people, and the owner did not like tip him or just kind of treat him with disrespect. So he wants kind of revenge to take money from this family. When we get there, though, it's only the mother and daughter. There's no husband there anymore. It's a tense kind of standoff the whole episode as they kind of wait. It reminded me a little bit of like a play or something. It's all in one location, just kind of waiting for this guy who's never going to show up because at the end it's revealed that he's dead. And this whole thing was for nothing. Chalky ends up killing the guy because he was threatening the daughter. Obviously kind of reminded him of his daughter a little bit, and made him think about, all his mistakes and stuff. And in the end, he just, leaves and stuff. So, again, not too much happens in terms of like, oh, he's going to take over, fight Narcisse or take over his crew again. Not any of that stuff. But a nice kind of slow, little somber mini story in this episode, which I thought was pretty interesting. That is, I'd say, the main part of what this episode is about. The rest of it is just kind of little things here and there. Nucky he's playing host to, I'm pretty sure this is JFK's father. I'm almost sure. His name is Kennedy. Like I said, you're obviously meant to assume that it's Kennedy. I know that, I don't know too much about the history of the Kennedys, but I know that they kind of made their living during bootlegging. This guy says he never committed a crime, but I'm pretty sure his dad was a bootlegger, or something like that, but don't know too much about the history, but it's interesting to see him kind of calling out Nucky as like, why are you doing this? Like, you don't have a family. What are you fighting for? And Nucky, says he wants to leave something behind, but the question is really like, what? I'll have to think about Nucky as a character once this whole thing is over. And the cool thing is we're getting flashbacks to when he was a kid. And again, seeing how he kind of developed into who he was. And so, yeah, I mean, he's very different than someone like Walter White or Tony Soprano, who was on a directly downward path. Nucky seems to be a more static character in many ways. Like, yeah, at the beginning there was like this thing of like, can't be half a gangster anymore, you gotta be all in. But as we go through the series more and more, we're realizing that he's kind of always been this way. He's always been someone who, like, I think like Eli said before, he's like greedy and like very aggressive, even though he doesn't even realize how much he is. And it's an interesting character story to see someone who's not necessarily on like a moral decline, but more like on a moral like plateau where he was like kind of always the same. In some ways it makes him a little bit less interesting as a main character. It's why I've kind of gravitated to a lot of other characters more than him. But it's an interesting contrast again to someone like Tony. Very different type of character journey he's on. Much more like, kind of staying the same. But that in and of itself could be a theme, like people don't change. And Tony Soprano was that in a little ways too. He was kind of always that person, but just kind of, I guess the hill is a little bit steeper with Tony, and then with Walter White it's like this. But regardless, we also have something with Margaret. Again, she gets like half a storyline per season now, which is, I don't know if she was too busy filming other stuff or something, but she's being sued by Harold Rothstein's wife or something, and now at the end of the episode she goes back with Nucky, like, she's just there. So we'll see if they get back together or something. I kind of hope not. He's actually been more interesting when he's not with her. So yeah, we'll see. Luciano and Bugsy meet with Narcisse, basically threatening him. And then when he doesn't agree to pay up, they go in and they kill his horse. So very brutal. I mean, why you gotta kill the innocent ones? Go after Narcisse himself. But it's always the lower people who suffer for the boss's decisions. So that's just how it goes. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode. I imagine next one we'll see more stuff in Chicago. Again, they kind of alternate episode to episode. But we're almost at the halfway point here of the season. Again, very short. Feels very rushed in the sense that we're moving forward at a breakneck pace. But it is nice that I don't have to sit through usually it's 4 boring episodes before we finally get to the action. Whereas this one has actually kind of gotten there pretty quick. So I've appreciated that. But that's pretty much everything I have to say about this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll check out the next one soon. Hey, what's up, everyone? Back with another episode reaction. This time we're looking at the 4th episode of Season 5, Cuanto. Now, this is a pretty interesting one. Not a lot happens in terms of the plot or anything. I think I said that last time too, but I do like the kind of little low-key moments in this episode. So to start things off, we have Margaret returning with Nucky, she goes to see Nucky, tells him about the whole situation with Arnold Rothstein's wife, and they end up really bonding again. She even kisses him. At the end there, though, he sends her off to her own hotel room, which I was like, come on, dude. She wanted to stay with you. But I could also see that maybe he doesn't necessarily want to get back together with her, because it's been 7 years, it's he might not necessarily want to jump right back into things again, especially considering how she left him the last time. No, and he knows about Owen and everything, but he just forgives her for it for the most part. But it was nice to see them back together a little bit. They do have some chemistry together. Margaret has always been a very interesting character in terms of there's some things I really related to her, and other things are just come on, you're just she goes so back and forth with everything. In one scene, she's like, oh, I'm the rich princess type, and the other scene, she's like, no, I'm a down, boots by your bootstraps type. And then another one, she's like, oh, I'm a poor Catholic. And then no, and the other one, she's like, no, I do what I want kind of thing. So she's very much wishy-washy, which is why I think I don't really enjoy her as much as a lot of the other female characters. And we'll talk about Sally because that's a sad ending there. But again, it was nice to see them back together for a little bit. Don't know if they're going to get back together permanently. I kind of doubt it. Just too much time has passed, but who knows? They might do something like that here to get her more involved in the plot, because otherwise they really have no reason to keep following her if she's not really connected to any of these other characters. Again, even Nucky was kind of pointing out how weird it was that she had a little storyline with Arnold Rothstein. Again, just trying to find something for her to do without her being with Nucky. So interesting little storyline there. But we've got that going on. We have again the story of Nucky's childhood. We're seeing how he becomes involved with the sheriff. This is another very I've seen this actor, the guy who plays the sheriff, around a lot. He was the douchebag police captain in The Wire. He played the journalist guy in House of Cards. He's in a lot of things, and he's pretty good. But yeah, we're seeing again how he's moving up the Commodore's ladder. Don't quite know why the sheriff took an interest in him like that. I guess maybe he's just a good guy. But yeah, again, we're just unlocking more of the picture with Nucky. So I always like the kid stuff. I think the kid who plays him is pretty good. Conveys a lot of a lot of the nuance of Nucky's performance comes through in the kid too, which I thought was really good. And then lastly, we have, or not lastly, we have Luciano visiting Al Capone, talking to him about this idea that will become, La Cosa Nostra, the American mafia. This whole idea of like all Italians kind of united together with one, organization, one set of rules. Right now, it's under Maranzano, but we know that he's eventually going to create the more, rather than having just one boss, a commission, a council. So it's cool to see that. Although Al Capone does not side with Lucky in this case, he calls Nucky Thompson, tells him what's going on, because part of the plan is they're going to get rid of Nucky Thompson because the way they want it, it's all going to be Italians running everything. No Irish, no other groups, just Italians. So, and then Al Capone, being crazy, being the drug lord, being the attention seeker that he always is. Luciano actually recognizes Van Alden, but Van Alden manages to persuade him that it wasn't him. However, the Fed, who is the other guy there, who they don't know is a Fed, he eventually finds Van Alden's file, so now he knows. I think he's going to try to use it to get Van Alden to work with him. Maybe divulge more pieces of the operation. Although it seemed like this guy was kind of high ranking, so he probably should know a lot of a lot of stuff going on with Al Capone. But I think he'll use Van Alden in some way, blackmail him basically. And then the last thing again happening was in Cuba. I think I don't know if this is what it is, but I think we're seeing the early formation of the Castro and the communists taking over. It seems a little early for that. This isn't even World War II yet, and the communists haven't even taken over in Russia. So I don't know if that's what this is, but we're seeing some stuff happening on a periphery of the Cubans are getting sick of the rich ruling their country, American influence. And they're trying to take control. Unfortunately, Sally is killed at the end here, which was so sad because I really liked her as a character. God, I hope they didn't kill her to make room for Margaret. That would be awful because Sally is a much better character. But she was interesting, to see someone that Nucky could interact with who was not like any of the other needy girls he was with. Finally someone who could push back on him and be like, I don't need you. I can take care of myself. But not in Margaret's way where it's very wishy-washy. With Sally, you were like, oh, I know it. She could take care of herself. So that was sad to see her go. But that's really everything I have to say about this. It's been rushed, like I said, been very, very, very rushed. But I've actually been enjoying this season a lot. Maybe because I didn't have high expectations going into it, especially compared to all the other seasons I've been pretty disappointed in. But this one I was like, every episode I'm just enjoying the scenes. They might not amount to something really significant, but I was each scene I was just okay, this is entertaining. I like these characters interacting. I like the storylines. It doesn't blow me out of the water, but pretty enjoyable so far. So we'll see if they keep that up. Again, I know people don't like this season, maybe just because it's the ending, but regardless, we'll have more thoughts once we watch the whole thing. So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned next time when I watch the next episode. Hey, what's up everyone? Back with another reaction. And this time I watched the 5th episode of Season 5, King of Norway. Now, things are cooking up a little bit with the plot here. It's definitely the action is moving forward. We get some, I don't know if I'd call it a reveal or not, but or Eli's been having these like weird, like not hallucinations, but like kind of like flashbacks that are all blurry. And it's not really clear what's going on, although you can see like a titty and stuff in it. So it's obviously something, with sex. And then we learn in this one when he and his wife, who by the way is pregnant with their kid, apparently they like see each other like once every 6 months or so, and she got pregnant last time. And then she comes to visit him again, and they go over to Van Alden's house. Now, Van Alden's wife like hates him at this point. Basically, one, I think just in general, like, just kind of marriage troubles, like, she's a kind of a bored housewife type, and just has grown to resent him, and his kind of old-fashioned ways and stuff like that. I think just in general, that's one of it. And two, she knows he's, well, I was gonna say she knows that he's a gangster, like he works for criminals and murderers and stuff. But she did help kill that one guy before. It's kind of sad to see them in this state, just because, like I said, I was really digging this girl for a while. She's like, I make the moonshine for you to sell, and then we kill this cop and stuff. Like, very much like in his corner. But I can also see, realistically, like as she kind of grows more comfortable with their wealth. I feel like this happens all the time with couples, which is that when times are tough, you kind of come together. But when you start having a lot of money and stuff, and then it actually starts to become like when you have more, you get more greedy and you get more like the little things bother you. That's how it kind of goes. So again, kind of realistic, but regardless, she doesn't like Van Alden anymore. She had sex with Eli. She reveals it. He was like drunk out of his mind and stuff. And one, that's a huge reveal, but right as they're, going to get into it, the undercover cop from before shows up and is like, I'm a cop. He knows who they both are, and he's like, you're both going to get the death penalty unless you help me out here. And he wants to steal Al Capone's ledger to convict him of tax fraud. Again, this is how they brought him down in real life. I don't think it involved, obviously, these fictional characters, but they're playing into that aspect of it. Elliot Van Ness is not involved, or maybe he was. Maybe that's Van Ness, the other guy there. To be honest, we only saw one shot of I keep saying Van Ness. I keep mixing up the characters. Elliot Ness. So I don't know if he's involved or not, but the point is, they're gonna make them go get the books for them so they can take him down. And I gotta imagine they're gonna be successful because that's how they took down Al Capone in real life. But it's a question of like, will they catch them in the act or something, or find out afterwards? We'll see. So that's going on in Chicago. Meanwhile, in Atlantic City, Chalky returns. He wants revenge on Narcisse. Nucky's like, just wait here. I have to go to New York. I got to deal with some business. And while he's gone, the FBI are looking for him. They know he's back. And Chalky goes to Narcisse's whorehouse. And there, at the end of the episode, he runs into daughter, Maitland. So she has a kid, which could be, I mean, it probably is Chalky's kid. Wait, she was pregnant actually, right? Didn't they say that? I can't remember if, again, I apologize because I watch these things kind of, spaced out. I don't remember if he knew that she was pregnant before. I kind of think of like maybe when they were at the house at the end of season 4, she said she was pregnant. Maybe that happened, maybe that didn't. But regardless, it's probably Chalky's kid. And now, we'll see how he deals with it. One, he lost his daughter dealing with Narcisse, so that's obviously going to be bad memories for him. But two, this might be a chance for him to, have a second chance at a family, because his family's gone, and he can't really go see them. So I don't know. We'll see how they deal with it, but it's cool to have Chalky back in action. we get a scene with Margaret. She pays off Rothstein's wife. Don't give a shit. Although it looks like she's going to be involved in some kind of like scam with the brokerage for Nucky. So maybe they're in league together. I don't know. He just found out about Sally's death, Nucky, in Cuba. And so, yeah, I mean, all his girlfriends keep dying. We even saw a little drawing of Billy Kent from before. So, yeah, it's sad that they keep going like that. But the main thing, of course, is, Nucky is going to meet with Maranzano, tell him about what Luciano's planning, and then they hit them. Luckily, they both survive, but they realize now that Johnny Torrio is working with Luciano and Lansky. So that's a shock because we thought he was retired, but he's obviously still scamming, still scheming, and now Nucky knows, and it's a question of if there will be a war or not. We only have 3 episodes left, so I don't know how much they'll deal with the war, but yeah, I'm interested to see it. I'm probably gonna watch another one right now, but yeah, some cool reveals, and like I said, I always love the Luciano Lansky gangster stuff. So come on, bring on more of that stuff into the show, even though we're at the end here. So only 3 episodes to go. Might finish it today. I'll probably watch at least one more. But yeah, it's pretty much everything I have to say for this episode. So thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned shortly. And I'm back again. It's the same day, obviously, and I just watched the 6th episode, Devil You Know. Interesting. That's the word I'll use. I don't quite know how I feel about this, so I'm just going to talk about the most important thing, which is the Chalky storyline, because I just need to get that out of the way. So Chalky shows up at the hotel room with daughter. He sees his daughter, his daughter with her. It's pretty much implied by the end there that's his daughter. Narcisse has been stopping daughter Maitland, the mother, I'm just going to refer to the daughter as daughter. So Maitland stopping her from being able to sing anywhere. He uses influence to basically just prevent her from getting work. And Chalky, he invites Chalky to work for him because he's getting squeezed by the Italians. They're taking over everything. And Chalky agrees once he hears her this record that she sung. It's that song that that goes like "Dream a Little Dream." Very beautiful singing, by the way. And he agrees to help Narcisse if he'll let her go. Although at the end there, Narcisse just kills him. And he knows it's coming too. He just accepts it. A very, very beautiful scene when he's hearing her voice as he dies. He's just ready to go. He's like Jimmy in a lot of ways. He knows it's his time. He has nothing else to live for. And he dies kind of content hearing her beautiful voice, which brought a little bit of a tear to my eye. I was like, one, because I'm sad Chalky died. I mean, I know it's kind of expected. He only has 2 episodes to go. So it doesn't really matter at the end here who dies, who lives, because the show's over. But it was just a beautiful, touching moment. And he was right when he was talking to Narcisse, too. He's like, you're never going to beat those white boys. He's like, oh, why? And it's like, because they're everywhere. You're just here. As strong as Narcisse is in Harlem, in the black neighborhoods, Luciano and those guys can go anywhere. They can do anything. That's why they have just a much more advantageous position. And a lot of other reasons, too. Racial, economic. It's just... they're gonna win. It's not. He's not gonna survive. So, I think we'll see the end of Narcisse before the end of this series here. But I was sad to see Chalky go. Although, it was. I'm not saying it's better writing than The Wire. Because I understand, and I apologize for. There's gonna be slight Wire spoilers here. someone at the previous video commented that I spoiled a death in that one. I just kind of assumed because I did the Wire reaction that you guys have seen it, but Wire spoilers right now. Just announcing that. It's a little bit more satisfying than Omar's death in The Wire because it comes so out of nowhere in The Wire, which I understand the reasoning behind that. It's very much in line with the kind of, themes of The Wire. It's all in the game. Deserve got nothing to do with it. All that kind of stuff. But this one was a little bit more satisfying of it. Like I wasn't hurt so much like I was with Omar. You guys remember my reaction from that video where I was just like, fuck this show. I didn't feel that way here because I was like, okay, this is a beautiful, touching moment. So even though I'm sad to see him go, at least, he died in a very artistic way that I thought, was satisfying for me. But that is the Chalky storyline. Eli and Van Alden go to steal the books from Al Capone. They're about to get out. They get caught, and they're about to get out of it when Al Capone shows up. He decides, he's going to get rid of them, and then finally Van Alden has enough. He just attacks Al Capone and is like, I am Nelson Van Alden. I am a U.S. Treasury agent. Blah blah blah, and then he gets shot. But it's cool to see how scared Al Capone was of him because Van Alden's been treated ever since he went into hiding. Like the dog, they kick him around whenever they want to. But when he gets pissed off and he's angry, he's a fucking giant. Like, he can just wreck you. Al Capone was so fucking scared, which is fun to see. And then at the end there, they give the job to kill Eli to the FBI agent without realizing it, and they give him the book, so he ends up getting the fucking books, and is gonna take down Al Capone. So I think we're gonna see him go down here next episode for the tax evasion. But it was very interesting. Again, saying goodbye to Van Alden. His scenes were entertaining. I don't know if they amounted to a real cohesive character arc. It's just individual moments that were enjoyable to me. He was one of the high points of the show. But yeah, I don't know if it really amounted to I was like, oh, okay, I understand where your story was always leading to. It just kind of seemed like a series of events that happened, and I kind of think that's how it is for most of these. But at the end, the FBI agent lets Eli go, but his wife hates him because she knows he slept with Van Alden's wife, so what's he going to do, really? What else here? Nucky learns that that girl, Sally, died. He goes to a bar, meets these, I don't know how to put it, kind of trashy women. They're very foul-mouthed, He gets into a bar fight. He's like, I want to fuck both of you. Takes him to an alley, and he's about to have sex with one of them, and then they knock him out and steal his money, presumably. So it's funny to see him kind of struggling like that, but he's just reeling from the loss of Sally. Again, I was like, at the end there, they teased it okay, we're going to war with Luciano and those guys, and I was like, okay, I would have loved to actually just see that this episode. It's we only have 2 more to go after this, so I really want to watch the next one because I want to see the war. But I was like, why can't you just go forward with that? Why do we have to have an episode with Nucky just kind of feeling bad in a bar? I don't know. Nucky's his character just doesn't go anywhere, and it's okay at times. When it's a war story or something, it's okay, that's cool. But I don't. Again, I felt like it when Sally, when she punched him when he was kind of reminiscing. I almost wanted to do it here because I was like, dude, come on, you've been through too much to have this moment at the bar of what does it all mean? We've been down this road before. You're not gonna change. Nothing's gonna happen. in many ways, like Tony Soprano was like that, but I don't know, because this show is like kind of telling one story throughout the season versus I think Sopranos was like episode to episode. I could deal with it more there. Here, I was like, we don't need to waste one of our very precious episodes seeing you wallow in grief, with these two horrors. So, just get on with it and go fight some people. Come on, let's move the plot along here. Some other characters, like I said, like Chalky, I'm more than happy to see like slow moments with him. But Nucky, I'm like, come on, dude. We both know this ain't going anywhere. You're not gonna have like a real change of character moment here. Let's just get back to the action. But that's pretty much everything going on. Yeah, I mean, Chalky was the best part of this episode and maybe one of the better parts of this season. So, sad to see him go. We only have 2 to go here, so we'll see how they wrap things up. But I've been rambling on more than usual. So, thank you guys for watching. I'm probably going to watch the next one soon. So, talk to you guys then. Hey, what's up, everyone? Back again, and I'm probably going to finish off these episodes. I just watched the 7th and penultimate episode of the show, Friendless Child. Really good. Very odd to see Nucky lose for once. At least when it comes to business, he's always won, and usually lost when it comes to personal stuff. But now for once we see him lose pretty much everything. So Nucky kidnaps Bugsy Siegel to try to get Luciano to negotiate. Luciano refuses and instead kidnaps Will to force Nucky's hand, and eventually Nucky's just forced to give up everything. Now, I thought it was a little unrealistic that, Luciano's there, Lansky's there. I mean, you could just start shooting, and I know they'd kill Will too, but they could totally have, just ended this. I felt it was very like a movie kind of, and not a movie, like a television kind of ending, where they're all in one place, all meeting with guns pointed, and I just don't think that it would have gone this way in real life. Although I know, Nucky's a fictional character based on a real person, but it definitely didn't go down like this. But dramatics aside, he's forced to give up control of everything. He helps assassinate Maranzano. I mean, if it was that easy, why didn't Luciano just do that? But he gets rid of Maranzano for Luciano, gets Will back, but he's out. He's out of Atlantic City. It's all came crumbling down. We see what's his name? Mickey gets shot. I don't know. I kind of thought maybe he should have lived. Like he got abused the whole show and then he just dies. It'd been funny if he survived. He outlasted everyone. That would have been cool. But I don't know. Again, that standoff was a little bit too television for me. I would have liked it a little bit more realistic and stuff, or it just felt like kind of dramatic for dramatic's sake. But we do see Luciano and Lansky take over. At the end there, they're even kind of cutting out Johnny Torrio because, he's just an old man at this point. They don't really need his validation. But yeah, we see him basically take over, which is cool to see the formation. I think in the next episode, they'll probably go over all the 5 families and, all that kind of stuff. So it'll be cool to see that. But that's one storyline. Really, that's pretty much everything in terms of the present day. At the end, Nucky gets a letter from Jillian, which, asking him to save her. Now, it's interesting because we get the flashbacks of when he's younger, and I really like these flashbacks. They've added a lot of character to Nucky through this. Kind of wish he would have done it sooner. But we get to see that how he first met Jillian. She was kind of like an orphan street rat in Atlantic City, ran away from an orphanage, and Nucky's wife Mabel wanted to take care of Jillian, but Nucky, he's only really concerned with advancing himself. Not super concerned with taking care of this girl. And so we don't see it happen yet, but it's probably going to happen next episode, where he hands her over to the Commodore, because in this episode, the sheriff from before gives up the badge, gives it to Nucky because he can't stand like what the Commodore is asking him to do. And Nucky finally sees what the Commodore does, which is he has sex with, very young girls. And Nucky's expected to take care of it as, his, job as sheriff. Basically working for the Commodore, the boss. Now, this is a big... it's not a big reveal. We've known this has been a thing since season 2. Which, I don't know. Looking back on it and how the show has played out... Again, I know this last season has been rushed because they got canceled. Not canceled, but they got told, like, this is the last season. They probably wanted to build it out longer. Looking back on everything, I feel like... I don't know. It almost seems like this should have been like season 1, this kind of stuff, and then we should have had Jimmy, do stuff afterwards. Versus we already knew he did this from before, so to make a huge deal out of it now that Jimmy's gone and all that stuff, I don't know. The timing of Jimmy was always so weird. Like to just kill him off in the second season. I don't know. It didn't feel like it. It felt like the ending of one story over here, and then this story over here. I just think looking back, and I know they don't write this thing way ahead of time. They write one season at a time. Maybe this thing could have been done more cohesively into like one linear story. But regardless, that's something to discuss next video when I get done with it. But that's pretty much everything that happens, and I just kind of want to go watch the final episode here. It's getting pretty late where I'm at, but I just want to knock it out of the way. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys then, and we'll talk about the whole show. So, see you then. And we're done. That is the end of Boardwalk Empire. Just watched the final episode, Eldorado. Really good, not only season finale, but series finale. Really powerful episode. A lot of stuff here. I'll talk about my thoughts on the episode first, and then we'll talk about the whole series. So, basically, Nucky's lost control of Atlantic City. He has to turn it over to Luciano. He does make millions off of shorting the Mayflower Grain Company, whatever, that Kennedy's involved in. Margaret has a little bit, who cares? Nucky and her dance in an apartment, and it's kind of implied that they might get back together. So in some ways definitely a loss, but in other ways, he's moving on, and he's gonna, he makes amends with Eli. He doesn't make amends with Eli. He gives Eli money and is like, good luck to you, brother. He goes and visits Jillian. Great scene talking with Jillian where he's like, I can't help you. What do you want from me? And she's not saying anything. She almost I think she is completely mentally sedated. Doesn't really even know he's there. And he's talking to himself. It's his own failings he's confronting with Jillian. As we'll see in the flashbacks here. Yeah, I think that Jillian... so I don't know what was happening with that, all those women had surgery scars. I think it was they were removing her ovaries or womb or something. I think that's how they treated, insane women back in the day. They're like, oh, it's her female parts that are making her crazy. So, yeah, I think that's maybe what they did. I wasn't 100% sure, but... she just is in hell in there. So, again, in a place that Nucky kind of helped her end up. Again, Jillian made her choices. I mean, she killed an innocent guy. That's not nothing. But, again, you can't help but feel sympathetic to her after everything she went through on the show. Very nuanced character. Really lovely. Great performance. Luciano forms the commission. That's a cool scene. They kill Narcisse, which is nice. He got what was coming to him. Capone gets arrested for tax evasion. Great scene with his son there. Almost brought a tear to my eye. Great acting from Al Capone's actor. Just really great scenes. And then in the flashbacks here, we see which are intermixed with the ending. So we see that Nucky, gets told basically what we know already happened. The Commodore asks for Jillian, who he promised to protect. He delivers her in order to get ahead. And at the same time, at the ending here, one of the little like servants who's been throughout the whole season, it's actually revealed that he's Tommy Darmody, who is Jimmy's son, and he kills Nucky at the end here in order to get revenge. Although we see that IRS agents were following Nucky the whole time, so he was going to go down no matter what. I wonder if this was in some ways kind of I don't want to say a reference, but I wonder if it's kind of like a play on the whole Sopranos ending, because a lot of people were like, Tony was either going to get arrested or killed, and Terry Winter, who wrote this episode, obviously wrote in The Sopranos. I wonder if this is kind of like a tongue-in-cheek commentary on that in some ways, but that's neither here nor there. But at the end, the very final shot is Nucky in the ocean, grabbing the gold coin. Very symbolic, ocean very much connected to Atlantic City, although, as Nucky says in this episode, he hasn't gone swimming in like 45 years. It's like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of, in Breaking Bad, Walter White never used his pool. Pools are a very prominent feature in the show. Nobody ever uses them. Why that is because it's kind of a commentary on the things that we Americans value, like the material. We want to have a nice pool. We want to have a big house. But it doesn't matter because it's that family element that's missing from it. It's all, flash, no substance. I have a pool too now, and I gotta tell you, I hardly use the thing. So I can definitely relate to that. But, looking back, and I'm gonna start talking about the whole show now, I had a hard time with Nucky's character. I didn't quite get what they were doing with him. Like, I got it, but it was like, it's not that enjoyable. This season really has made me appreciate his character, to the point where I actually think this is one of the better seasons. I know a lot of people said the ending wasn't good, or I don't know, maybe that was just some people's opinion. I don't know what the general opinion of the season is. I know it was rushed, but people were saying like, oh, seasons 1 and 2 are the best, and then it gets worse from there. I think in general I agree with that, but I thought this last season was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed every episode. Maybe because it was just less episodes, it was less like boring fluff. Like Margaret was hardly in it, which is great. But I mean, there were a few moments I was like, why are we dealing with this? But for the most part, I thought a lot of beautiful moments in this season. As a whole, I don't think the show is amazing. I'd rate it probably a C plus, or maybe a B minus if I'm being generous. Not a great show. A lot of like individual like good scenes that don't really amount to much or don't amount to a satisfying conclusion. But this last season, when I just look at it as a season, I was like, oh, I really like this. This is some of the better television I've watched in a long time. Just a lot of great, beautiful, symbolic moments. Like, again, him in the ocean with the coin. I was talking about Nucky's character before. Knowing what his storyline is now, it's basically Nucky was so concerned with getting ahead and getting away from his past that, he never moved past it, and it all amounted to nothing. All the horror that he inflicted on all these people. He's a much different character than someone like Walter White, who was doing it out of pride, or Tony Soprano, who, had pretty much every sin in the book, but was kind of, it was more like how American life and the mafia was pushing him into this. Nucky's someone who we see the danger of greed, and not even just pure money greed, but just the idea that getting ahead is all that's important, and then later on I can just fix it with money, but you really can't. The damage that's done around there is it can't be fixed. It reminds me a little bit of the Jesus quote. I'm not trying to get religious. I'm not super religious or anything, but it reminded me of the love of money is the root of all evil. It's not that the money in and of itself is the evil thing. It's the love of money and that love of getting ahead that Nucky has kind of ruined his life and everyone else's life. It's a, I don't know. I just really appreciate all these flashbacks. Normally I get annoyed with flashbacks, but this one was really good. I really liked seeing Nucky's childhood, his character. I liked how it was interspersed throughout the season. I just think it was really well done. Timothy Van Patten directed this episode, who was a longtime director of Sopranos, Breaking Bad, many great shows. Like I said, a lot of story threads that don't end in really satisfying ways or even interesting ways in a lot of cases. Sometimes they're just boring. But a lot of beautiful moments. I feel like I keep repeating that. Overall, if you want my thoughts on the series, in basically one sentence, I was like, a lot of cool moments that sometimes don't go anywhere, but we're still pretty enjoyable to watch. I'm glad I watched this show. It's no masterpiece. I expected more from Terry Winter. But enjoyable in its own way. I enjoyed seeing the time period. I enjoyed seeing all these famous real life characters. I thought many storylines were good, some were not. But ultimately, I think I'd recommend watching it. And that brings me to my last point here. So I am going to release a video probably a little bit later on, talking about I'm going to do a series basically looking at shows and being should you watch it, and kind of explaining is this something you would enjoy on XYZ reasons. And I'm going to talk about Boardwalk Empire as a whole. I don't know if I'll make specific video essays. I might down the line. We'll see. I kind of think, I don't know if they'd be super popular. I don't know if this show has the huge following that Sopranos or The Wire does. But I still think I want to make a video at least on the series and being here's the things that the show does well. If you're interested in this, you should check it out. I think it is worth watching. But ultimately, I just for you guys, I would say definitely watch it. I mean, I imagine you have if you're watching this video, but I enjoyed it for the most part. Not fantastic, but satisfying for me to just finish the series. Now I know I've been rambling on for a long time. I feel like a lot of these ones I've rambled on because the storyline is not super focused. So I'm kind of just oh, what happened this episode? But I just want to thank you guys for watching these. It's been fun for me to record them. I plan on continuing to do this. I think next up is going to be Mad Men for me. It's the other show that was spawned from The Sopranos. Matt Weiner. There's Dexter with James Manos Jr. There is Blue Bloods with Robin and Mitch Burgess. But I think Mad Men is the most critically acclaimed out of all the shows that got spawned from that writing team. So I'll probably watch that next. So you have that to look forward to. But again, thank you for watching these. I hope you've enjoyed them to some extent. And I'll be doing more of these reactions because I might as well record my reactions after I watch them. It's really just extra content for you guys to enjoy. But I've really been going on a long time now. It's pretty late. I need to just end this. So thank you guys, and talk to you in the next video. I don't get it. Where was the episode with Janice underneath the boardwalk? Russell, Sean, Heart of Markness, Logan, Clean, John Reyna, Jesse Sterling, Andrew Stewart, Ops Gracing Media, Daz J. Kit, Conan Higgins, Sam Cedarlin, Don Lucania, Celery Man, Jenna Marie Johnson, and Brad Smith Studios.